Today we're just going to have a bit of a journaling catch-up. I'm just going to show you how I've been using my journals in the month of July and some changes that I've made since the last video. Some of them I was already anticipating to make. So for example, I started a 5-year journal. I started this on my birthday. I turned 35, so I thought it would be fun to have like the last 5 years of my 30s in one book, and that has impacted how I use my Hobonichi Weeks, but we'll get into more detail later. I was also planning to maybe do a brief flip through of like some of the pages from July in this journal, and yeah, just a bit of like a general catch up because it was my birthday. I got a couple of presents and I bought a couple of things as well, so maybe just a general how my journaling life has been going this month. So let's move some things out of the way and let's get started. I'm not really gonna talk about my TN passport. I've been using it kind of like in the same way I've been doing. Maybe I've not been using the weekly verticals that much this month, but nothing has changed really. So if you want to just learn a little bit more about how I use it, you can check one of my previous videos. I might link something in the cards or in the description below, but if you check my last video, I explain how I use it in there. So the main big change has been starting this 5-year journal. It's undated. I don't know if you're familiar with this. This is from Midori. It's beautiful. It has this kind of embroidered, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see the detail there, but it's like the cover is embroidered. It comes with this plastic cover, and it has this kind of like goldenish kind of color for the letters, like a dark gold type of color. It's really pretty. I decided to, at the front, obviously put the start, like the date where I started, the 21st of July, which is my birthday, and then I put a picture of myself, and I think I will put smaller pictures down here of each year and then a bigger one the year that I finish it. And then, yeah, so you get basically for each month, you get this, you know, one page where you see like an overview of the month, and then some months have this empty page, not all of them. I honestly would have just removed that page, but then I realized it was useful to test like inks or to log like the pens that I was using or to decide if I was going to be using a pen or not. At first I wasn't so sure what to use that like monthly overview for, because they say you can use it for important dates and things like that, but like then you only get one. So I was finding it a bit tricky, and I think if you really are into like logging the weather and something like that, that could be something you could do there. So basically what I decided to do, I created these divisions myself and was dividing it in 5, so 1 square per year. And then what I've decided to do is try to do a bit of like a logging the main emotion I have for that day. I've not been very successful doing this in the past, this kind of thing, because I always end up thinking that like I've had different emotions during the day, so which one I put and all the stuff. I'm trying to think about it as like, what is the main thing? So what felt like the most important thing that day, and if I really need to log more than one, I can, you know, divide it or something. I have like a little log for the different things, like the different emotions that I'm tracking, and that kind of stuff. It's been going well. I was doing something similar in terms of like a daily recap in my Hobonichi Weeks, so I'm quite used to do that. It just means I'm doing it in a different book, and it's feel a bit like weird, like I feel like I've not built like a relationship with this notebook yet, and then at the same time it felt strange to not be doing my daily recaps in my Hobonichi Weeks, but I'm still enjoying it, and I think like it will be really like enjoyable next year when I'm able to read like what I've written from the previous year. But yeah, so far it's going well. I'll keep you updated. I don't think I'll be doing flip throughs of these. I mean, some days might be a bit more personal than others. I don't think, obviously you don't have tons of space, so it's not like I'm gonna be writing really deep thoughts or deep things. But yeah, it might not be like the most interesting anyway. It's just like a bit of text every day, and I'm not planning to do any stickers or anything. The only time I put some stickers was on my birthday, just to signify that that's when I was starting it, and I added this little tab. But yeah, other than that, it's just gonna be like writing. So not the most exciting thing to see maybe, but I'll definitely keep you updated on how it goes and all that stuff. So yeah, that impacted how I was using my Hobonichi Weeks. Again, I'm not gonna go into tons of detail of how I use this notebook or anything like that, but you can see that in my previous video. But basically, just so you can see the difference, this is how I was using it before. So I was in the left side of the page, I was just having a daily recap, and then here it was a place to like track some like habits that I want to track, and then kind of like priorities for the week. And I've not been doing it that much, but then some weeks I would have kind of like a weekly recap type of thing. So either write different things during the week, or maybe, I've not been doing it for a while, yeah, have like highlights and like highs and lows of the week, or like highlights and struggles, that kind of stuff. So the way that I'm using it now, or that I've started to use it now, it's more as like a weekly recap memory keeper type of thing. So the idea is to include maybe some pictures, things like that, but also maintaining my habit tracker and the 3, 4, whatever number it is of priorities for the week. It's been going well, but it's felt a bit strange. Like this is this week where I'm filming, I decided to have like the highlights and struggles on this side of the page, and this one to have more kind of like, you know, events of the week. I've been really obsessed with these kind of like tortoiseshell kind of fountain pens, and I received some inks, a song that I was like, you know, listening on repeat, all those sort of things. It felt a bit strange. I don't know. I've been doing basically this type of, you know, daily recaps in my Hobonichi Weeks for like a year and a half. So I think it might take some time for me to like get used to like, this is not the place where I do it anymore. I do it in here. Also, like, I never felt restricted in here when I was like just writing. But now that I'm putting more pictures and stuff like that, it does feel a bit like small or restrictive or something. But I don't know. I think it's just like, you know, a bit of time to adjust, and I'll, you know, keep you updated of how it goes. The next change has been around my more like private journal, or I think Rachel in theory calls it ugly journaling. Basically just like the more private things that I don't want to, you know, share with anyone. I was using previously this MD A6 notebook. I ended up ripping the pages that I had used from here so I can at some point repurpose this. But I had been feeling like I had like a lot of like different notebooks, and I wanted to try to like reduce them a bit, even if it's not in the number in where they house. So I think like you see where this is going, but I ended up moving my private journaling into my TN standard, which already houses some of those notebooks that I use like occasionally. That is not kind of like my main lineup of journals. So initially I was planning to do that in the future when I finish this notebook, but I thought, why should I wait? If I feel like doing it now, let's just do it now. So yeah, I removed the pages from here so I can repurpose this for something else at some point. And what I did was I had this A5 MD notebook, and I cut it first to the TN size, then because it was a bit like, I didn't do the best job, I had to cut it a bit more to, you know, do a bit of like a cleaner cut and all that stuff. And it ended up being a bit narrower, but not the end of the world. So yeah, now my more private journaling lives here in my TN together with my commonplace, which I very rarely use, and also this notebook that I use for kind of like when I'm angry. I have these two separate just because like I feel like this is more depressed, or I can be maybe reflecting or something that is hurtful or something like that, but maybe I don't have that like anger in me in that moment. And I decided to do the anger part here, just because like sometimes I write very big, or like maybe even like I obviously don't use fountain pens for this, but I use like a pen, and maybe I like write very hard and I like maybe damage the page or something, and I don't know, it doesn't feel nice to do that in this notebook. And then the other thing I changed is I moved my stickers here. I was using a passport sticker release like insert, and now I've changed them to this standard one, because the other thing that has changed is that I managed to finish my Hobonichi notebook, let's call it. It's really like a Hobonichi avec, like the original size, A6 size from 2025 that I didn't end up using, and this year I decided to repurpose it just for my journaling. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish this notebook in July, but I kind of like challenged myself a bit, because I wanted to move into a new notebook in August. Obviously this notebook has a lot of pages, so unless I started it in August, it was probably going to be like too many pages. I don't think I can finish this notebook before the end of the year, to be honest. But I think I've decided I'll probably move out of this notebook in the new year. We'll see. You know, this is it's just August. Maybe if I feel like it and I'm loving this notebook, I might stay until I finish it and, you know, move into something else whenever. But yeah, I was kind of like looking forward to start this notebook with the new month. So I challenged myself and I managed to finish this one in July, which I was very excited about. So we can do a bit of a flip through and you can see like my pages for this month, and I can tell you a bit about it. But yeah, I was really excited. This notebook was originally something that I wanted to use to do weekly recaps, but I like more visual recaps with pictures and drawings and that kind of thing. Didn't happen. Like I mentioned this in my last update, but didn't happen at all. So yeah, now we're gonna be using it just for like main journaling. And let me just show you, just being careful because the first page has some of my personal details. Originally I was gonna put like the month that I started and ended in this page or this one, but I ended up putting this in here. So yeah, basically I just put August 2026, and then when I finish the notebook I'll just add that there. And then let's flip over. Here I've decided to include any pens, like fountain pens and ink combos that I use. Here I just decided to do swatches of the kind of like ink that I have at the moment. To be fair, this one, I finished the sample that I had, and from the Robert Oster motor oil, I only have what I have inked in my Quebec Sport. But anyway, I just felt like doing a little swatch of all the inks that I had, and especially because I had bought some new samples, the ones over here. So yeah, I was just really excited to do that. And then I have my first page of August in this notebook. It's really exciting. I don't know how I feel about the light inks to write with, but I don't know, it just felt very summery and very fun, so I'm happy I did that. And something I did for myself a while ago was this kind of like template to use, just because one of the things I enjoy about the, hang on, where is it? It's here. One of the things that I enjoy about the Hobonichi, whether it's the cousin or the, you know, techo, is you have these different elements on the page that kind of like invite you to like, yeah, you can write across, but you can also, you know, create different columns and things like that. So I wanted to give myself something similar. So I created different kind of like templates that I can just, you know, put behind the page, and they don't match exactly the squares, but you know, more or less they do. So I can just use it as a guide, and maybe once I start writing, I know where, you know, the columns end and whatnot, I can just remove it. But yeah, I think this is like a fun way to like, you know, do different layouts and things like that. So I'll be showing you more of this notebook in the future. And I just took this elastic that I had from some TNs and decided that this is how I'm gonna be using it to close it, because obviously there's not really, like, you can't really use a cover. I would need like a horizontal cover for this notebook. I tried to put it in one of the Hobonichi covers, but it felt like a bit annoying, just the way it was going to be set up. Obviously you could just have it in there, but I thought it's fine like this. And that's why I also moved my stickers to the TN insert, because that way I just grab these things if I'm going to be journaling. One thing that I used was this TN passport insert at the beginning of the month. I went on a trip with my brother and I decided I wanted to do some travel journal. I've not finished it, and I did some during the travel, but not the whole thing. So I'll be doing a proper flip through when it's complete, but yeah, you can see how it's been going so far. Maybe I do some video, some journal with me video, and that way I'll motivate myself to like finish it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to have my first ever like travel journal completed. Let's get started with the flip through. I think this was the first page from July. I'm usually quite good at putting the date, but for some reason here I didn't. I like to do quarterly planning. I've been thinking about making a video about how I do my quarterly planning for ages. But every time the quarter starts, then I end up like not being in the mood for filming, not feeling like talking, not having the energy or whatever. Or it's just like the week has passed and I've not done the video. So anyway, hopefully at some point I'll show you. But one of the things I like to do is this exercise from like Karin Nordin or Nordin. I can never remember how you pronounce her saying name, but basically she talks about like, I think she calls it future self-mapping or something like that. Basically what you do is you talk about like, you know, like what would be your ideal version of yourself in the future. I don't think she has like a specific time in the future where you have to set it, but I like to do it kind of like for the next quarter, like the ideal version of myself, what would be doing. So you talk about that in like the third person and whatnot. So you're like, oh, Sarah 2.0 is the kind of, you know, person that does this and this. And then from that, you extract like 4 qualities that you think that person has that you want to work on. And you link those 4 qualities, whatever they are, to some actions or habits. And that's kind of like what you work during the quarter. So yeah, I find it like a fun exercise to do and kind of helpful. Then here I think there were a couple of pages that I don't want to share, so we'll go over those. Yeah, here I think I'm just having like some journaling thoughts. I was talking about how Hobonichi season was about to start. Obviously it has started now. And then I think I was saying, yeah, I don't think I'll change my system much for the like in the new year in 2027. But one of the things that I've been considering is I've been feeling like I want to combine the way I use my Hobonichi Weeks with my long form journal. The best kind of like, you know, candidate for that, I think it would be Sterling Ink Common Planner in whichever size I pick. At the time I was thinking about like an A6, but now I've been feeling a bit like I miss my Hobonichi cousin, and I've been thinking, oh, maybe I want to go back to an A5 size. I even thought the other day, I was thinking, oh, should I go back to a Hobonichi cousin? But I really shouldn't, because look, I mean, I don't mind ignoring dates and all that stuff, like I can do it, but it just doesn't make sense. It makes more sense for me to be either a plain notebook, or if I want to combine like the more planning aspect of my life and goals and that kind of thing with, you know, my long form journaling, then something like the Sterling Ink Common Planner, which you get the months and all that stuff at the beginning and the weeks and whatnot, but then the pages for like your journaling are undated, are just like a notebook. So it makes more sense, but we'll see what I decide at the end. Because the other thing that I think is going to happen, and I'm certain will happen, is that there will be some beautiful design for the Hobonichi Weeks that I'll be like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about consolidating notebooks. I just want that design. And then I'll buy it and I'll be very happy with it, because I've been using it for like a year and a half and I've been happy with it. So yeah, there's no reason for me to not get one. So those would be like, if something changes, maybe it's that, but we will see. We'll have to see what Hobonichi comes out with. And then I was also having more journaling thoughts, because at the time here, I wasn't sure which notebook to start once I was done with this, and I kept going back and forth of like, I hadn't decided to cut the MD notebook, but I wasn't feeling very excited about starting like journaling in the MD notebook, even though because of the number of pages was the one that made most sense to use. And then I have like a Stalogy
A5 notebook as well that I could have moved into, but then I realized eventually that I was just excited about using this Kyohei Sakaguchi beautiful notebook, and that's what I should do, and I should just follow what makes me happy, and that's what I did. But here I was going through all those thoughts. Then here I was talking about what to do with my ugly journaling, because if you know Ale from I forgot the name of her channel, Alejandra Archive or something like that. I can't remember. I'll put her name. But basically, what she does is like whenever there is something that like she would put in like the private journaling, she creates like a screen like a with like translucent paper to cover it, and that way it creates that privacy. I really like how it looks, and I think it's like like a really nice way to still have like some of those more private thoughts all together in the same journal. So I was thinking, would I prefer that? But I think for now I prefer to have it in a complete different journal, because that way if I decide I just want to burn it once I'm done with it, I can. Which I might do. Then here, some minor things I was stressed about. Well, there's a page there that I don't want to share. Here's when I received my 5-year journal, so I was very excited. So I put all the little things that came with it, and then I ordered it from this shop called Hunter Baby Co, and they sent these beautiful postcards, so I decided to add it there with like some washi tape. And here I was doing a bit of like a recap of some of my July journaling thoughts. So let's see what I wrote. Determined to finish this journal so I can start my Kyohei Sakaguchi notebook in August. I did it. I managed to do that. Cut my A5 MD notebook to use it for my most private journaling, and remove the pages from my MD A6 which used to serve that purpose. Put my A5 MD inside my DN, which I also did. Got my 5-year journal. And then the plan is to do more visual memory keeping in the Hobonichi Weeks now, but we'll see how it evolves. First ever travel journal, and it would make more sense to get a common planner in 2027, but I only do that if I don't connect with any of the week's covers, which is unlikely. And basically said it would make more sense to reduce the number of notebooks, but who says we need to reduce the number of notebooks? Spain won the World Cup. Very exciting. I don't really follow football. I didn't even watch the game, to be honest. I just watched like a video with highlights. But anyway, felt relevant to put. I've been trying some different kind of like high protein things from Lidl. It wasn't good. I didn't like it. It tasted very synthetic and fake and artificial. Then I was feeling alone here this day, so I was talking a bit about that. And how like a lot of times like I feel lonely, but I also don't have the energy to connect with people. Yeah, it's difficult to find a solution when you feel that way. Then this was my birthday. I was trying some inks to decide which one I wanted to like use. Another little dessert. This one was good. It was not bad. And just a calm day. Here I received, well, I'll show you. So my family got me some stickers from Dodolulu for my birthday, and it came in like a beautiful bag, so I decided to cut part of the bag and put it here, and the little card that comes with it. And they were these gorgeous stickers. Let me just find, they're so beautiful. Here and here, and add some more here at the back, because they didn't all fit, but they are so beautiful. I really like them. Then I wrote like a little list of things that it's not like a shopping list for the Hobonichi season, but things that I might be interested in buying. So a Hobonichi Weeks, an A6 or A5 cover if there is one that I really like. Then one of those, what is it called? Is it drawer pouch or something like that? Basically like the ones that you can use as a pencil case. I've been using these like really cheap on, and it's working well, but it has kind of like same structure as those, more or less. So if there is one that I really like, maybe I will get one, I'm not sure. Some pencil boards. If I decide to go with the Hobonichi Weeks plus notebook kind of way, I might get a Hobonichi notebook, A6 or A5. There are some of the Iyokumi folders that I think are very pretty. Those. And then there were like the Unforgettable Day stickers, which I think they're still available, which maybe I might get. But again, these are all like question mark things. Might not get any of those at the end. And then this was my second present from my family, which they very kindly got me this beautiful Twisby. Is it the white and rose gold one? Now, one thing I've realized, and this is not their fault, because I basically send them like a list of different fountain pens that I would be very excited to have, and said that they could pick, whichever they wanted from there. And this was one of them. But I've realized I'm not a big fan of rose gold, and I'm not gonna like get rid of these or sell it or anything, because it was a present and it has like a sentimental value, and I really like how it writes, so no complaints on that. But I've realized for fountain pens, I like gold trimming. I mean, not real gold, but like, color, gold colored. And it's similar with like silver. I have this one, and I've realized I don't, this is like a Jinhao, by the way, but I've realized I don't love the silver trimming. And it's funny because like, when it comes to jewelry, I only like silver colored jewelry, like not necessarily like silver, but like I don't wear gold. But when it comes to fountain pens, I'm a gold girly apparently. So yeah, rose gold, maybe not my thing, but this fountain pen, it's so beautiful still, and I really enjoy it. So I'm so thankful they got it for me. Then what I was talking about here. Yes, so it was basically, I was talking how I was finding a bit uncomfortable the switching between the Hobonichi Weeks and the 5-year journal. I know I'll really enjoy having the 5-year journal, but it's getting used to it. Because I don't know, I was just so comfy, in my Hobonichi Weeks. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Then the other thing, I had this idea. So basically, I've been getting a bit more into inks lately, and fountain pens, and being a bit more excited about that. And I had this idea of like creating a DIY ink vent. So obviously, like, the ink vents can be quite pricey, at least, for my financial situation, my budget, whatever. But you could do your own personal ink vent with samples, which might be cheaper. I've been getting my samples from Fountain Feather, I think it's called. I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, most of like the more expensive samples are £2. So I could have an ink vent for like £50, more or less. And if you want to do this, that is like a complete surprise. You could ask someone else, a friend, a family member, your partner, to pick the samples for you. But I think I want to pick the samples myself. And then the surprise will be more like, I'll put them in the same, envelope or bag or something. Put them first there, then put the numbers. And then it's a surprise, which ink you get each day. So I don't know. If I end up doing something like that, I'll definitely make a video about it and show you. Yeah, I just had an idea and I thought it would be fun. And also because like I find December a bit of a difficult month. So I don't know, maybe just trying to think about ways to make it a bit more fun and the things that bring me comfort and make it a bit, more enjoyable. Here was just more journaling stuff, lots of like journaling thoughts. I'm like thinking, what do I need for planning? Like what kind of, because when I was thinking, to consolidate notebooks and stuff, like what kind of options, then there were a couple of things there that I didn't want to share, but here, more journaling thoughts. I was talking about, again, like the 5-year journal and how it's taken a bit of adjustment. And then I was doing a bit of research of, other journals. If I decide that I want to combine the Hobonichi Weeks and the long form journal, what kind of like journals could be options? And I was thinking, I checked the Nisha Fernando, the Paper Test, the Our Estelle, the Faded Chronicle, a bunch of them. But basically, I, got to the conclusion that the only one that would work would be the Common Planner. And so I wrote here, like, I put for a reminder, you don't need to look at this again, because I've looked at this before. So it was like, these are the reasons why it wouldn't work for you. And the main one is that a lot of them, I think, like, have the weekly setup where, like, you have the weekly, and then you have, like, 7 pages to journal or take notes or whatever, and then the next weekly, and I'm like, I don't like that. I know some people want that, and I mean that's why those planners exist, and very happy that works for you. But I want all my weeklies together. Then what else? 3 days. Oh yeah, I was counting like the days until the Hobonichi preview started. Yeah, and I think here I was talking about how I was feeling excited about the idea of having an A5 notebook again, and I was unsure whether I would want like the common planner. If you're not familiar, you can choose between a vertical weekly or a horizontal weekly in lots of different sizes. And I was like a bit unsure which one to go for, but I think I'm leaning towards the horizontal one if I decide to do that. Then what else? Oh, Hobonichi. Well, we were getting to the end of the journal here, and I was like, Hobonichi Techo A6 review. TLDR, would I buy the Hobonichi A6 again? No. And it's nothing like bad about the journal, but it's just that like I know like the date pages are just not for me. And then I think like having, you know, the date and the quote at the bottom, all that stuff, when it's the A5, like the cousin or the Avec, but in A5 and that kind of thing, I don't mind. But when it's the A6, it can feel a bit restrictive. And I ended up like writing over the quotes many times and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think like those were like, I do like the A6 size. Then I've been feeling really tired lately, really exhausted, especially this last week, but a bit before then as well too. And here's when I received some, like the inks. So those were the inks that I ordered. I ordered the Sailor Manyo, Jamobuki, no idea if I'm pronouncing these things right, by the way, Pilot, Iroshizuku, Hana, Ikata. If I can't pronounce Japanese names, French I think is worse, but we'll give it a go. Urban Vert Pré, Urban Vert Olive, and then I got the Diamond Shimmer Neon Lime. It's very similar to the Urban Vert Pré, extremely so, I would say. This lighting is not the best, but yeah, the only difference is that the Diamond obviously has some shimmer in it. I actually wanted to get the Pilot Iroshizuku, how's it called? Hoturabi or something like that? I can't remember. But then it's kind of like a yellowy, greenish type of color. But they had sold out of that one. So I went for this one instead. Sailor Manyo, haha. This Diamond Aqua Blue, which is a pretty color, but I don't think I want a journal with that. But I don't know, I'll figure out how to use it. And Diamond Mediterranean Blue. I was just trying to make some sort of like summery color palette. And here, yeah, journal about new inks. I'm saying goodbye to the Hobonichi Techo and to July. And then here just, you know, doing some little samples. Here I played a bit with the inks, and I just wrote, thank you little notebook, you were with me through some difficult times and I really appreciate you. And that was it. That was the end of this notebook, and now I'm very excited to get started with this one. And the first page of this one, I've been journaling about like the Hobonichi theme for this year, which I think it's really nice. I like that it's called Life Grows, and like, yeah, I don't know. I thought the interview was really lovely, and how it talks about like, you know, how the sense of attachment that it grows between you and your, you know, Hobonichi Techo, which I've definitely felt it in the past, and yeah, how kind of like you grow together. So yeah, I really enjoyed some of the quotes from there and the interview, and I think the fact that if you've not seen it, the fact that the little present that they're going to give is like is it acorn, how you pronounce it, and then it says life grows in it, is, yeah, really fitting for the theme, and it was lovely. And like the illustrations from the preview page are lovely too. I was going to share some of the things that I bought, but to be honest, aside from the 5-year journal, which I've already talked about, the inks, which I've shown, and then, you know, the 2 little presents from my family. Well, not little, very substantial presents. But other than that, I just got some mini stickers and stuff like that, which I can show you in a sec. Yeah, I got this
these ones, I think it was Swatelier. I can't remember the... Oh, you're not going to be able to see them very well because they're transparent. Because I removed the thing. There you go, you can see them there better. But it's just this little cat, which I think was really fun. And then these ones, I just got them to fit better. But I don't know, it's just basically people kind of like working but looking tired. Wait 1 sec. I can't remember how it was called, lazy something. And I thought they were very fun. So I got those when I ordered my Hobonichi, my 5-year journal. And then some pen for fields, so nothing very exciting. Thank you so much if you've watched the whole thing, and I'll see you very soon. Or not in the next one. Bye!